So, Malignant, the movie came out. It's on HBO Max and it's in theaters. What did you think, real quick, like spoiler-free review, in case somebody's listening to this who hasn't seen it? Like, is it worth seeing? What did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought it was super refreshing to kind of see some of the things and ideas that James Wan went for. I think that ultimately it really was a slow burn, but I love that about his movies. He's unapologetic to be like, this is my story. I'm going to tell it, and you're going to either enjoy it or you're not. And I like some of the aspects he took, as without getting into spoilers, about certain scientific things that he chose to address, and just the way that certain we talk about serial killers, but the way that people can be interpreted by that, or the way that people see it. And I liked some of the avenues he took. I thought it was super creative, the way that he kind of melded the story together. I'll be honest with you, for the first half hour, I had no idea what the hell was going on. But then I slowly got it over time, and by the end, of course, it all made sense. But I thought it was kind of bold, the way that he went after certain things in this movie that we haven't seen in a very long time, or haven't been explored in this way. And it's one of those things, like we talk about, sometimes you build an icon by not building an icon. And I think that's a cool thing that he was able to do here without getting into spoilers. He really was unapologetic of like, here's what I want to do, here's how this thing it leads to this, and how it all can connect together.
So sorry about that, a little bit of a technical hiccup, but yeah, I agree completely with everything that you're saying. It was just a solid horror movie. James Wan's directing is always really good, and so it takes it from kind of like your standard basic boring jump scares to like a really dynamic cinematic experience. Soundtrack was great. It really gave me Saw vibes. Like the original Saw, I liked that. The acting was just amazing all around. The story was a solid story. It wasn't like the most mind-blowing thing in the world. I don't want to say too much about it, but I definitely think it's worth watching. I would say more on HBO Max than in theaters, but I think it's definitely worth a watch if you like horror movies. But yeah, to get into some serious, deep spoiler territory, let's break this movie down. Holy, the reveal was a lot.
Yeah.
It lost me a little bit there. I liked the movie. I really liked the beginning. It felt like a crime thriller meets a horror movie, and I freaking loved that. That was so cool.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes were fantastic, and I was like, what the hell are we doing? Why are we here? What is this creature? What does this all mean? And sometimes, what's I love about James Wan, it's like, we've talked about it before, but sometimes with horror movies, where like with Mother, for example, they'll show you a clue to what's going on, but I hate when horror movies do that, because then you just piece it together an hour later. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have shown me the first 5 minutes, because I know what's going to happen.
Yeah, that's
This
true.
is one of those instances where I didn't get it, and I didn't put it together, and I like that he did it cleverly that way, instead of being like, here's the pseudo reveal in the beginning, and then you'll see more later.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the one thing though that I would say a little bit against that is I think that the reveal, I don't know, maybe it's just me. The reveal kind of took me out of it. It seemed like he came up with this really cool idea, like for the first hour, and then, you know, he's kind of known for his reveals, especially if I don't know, have you seen Dead Silence? But Dead Silence, there's a reveal.
Yes, yeah.
Right? So he's kind of known for that, and so he's like, I want a cool reveal, and then he like was just trying to think of something that would like trick you and was surprising, as opposed to something that really worked for the plot. And I kind of got those vibes. And it's not bad. It's just, it felt a little bit more like, see, I tricked you, as opposed to like, oh, you know, like you really get that click catharsis when something really works as a twist or a reveal. And you're like, oh my gosh, it wasn't quite there for me. It was solid, but it wasn't quite there for me. Now, I still loved it because, dude, the way this man directs his movies is amazing. Okay, the directing of this movie, there was a shot, and I don't know if you guys remember this, if you've seen the movie, where it was an above shot, and she's running through the house, and then she goes upstairs in the house, and it's just tracking her through the rooms, like the camera's filming a model of a house or something. That was so cool. Like his directing makes any movie go from like a 5 to an 8 immediately.
Oh, for sure. I love that shot where she's running through the house, and then I love the one take shot in the police station where she's taking out all those people. I was impressed by that one.
It got me kind of psyched for Aquaman too, not gonna lie.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I think if he has, a more creative control this time around. I think he
Yes.
can really do much more with that, but that's a different topic. I still loved his direction in this movie and the things he did with certain elements of the orange spoilers of Gabriel and how just everything from the look, the design to how it looked like her, but I didn't piece that together till later. I didn't really
and
think
then
of that.
You would see the way Gabriel moved, and you're like, it looks weird, like it's like backwards or something. And then you're like, oh my gosh, it is back. Like that was pretty cool.
Yeah, and the way that they were able to kind of make it sort of an enigmatic character as far as the
Yeah.
first hour goes, I loved.
Yeah, that was interesting. I feel like the biggest, just the end felt a little bit rushed to me, and I really liked the sister character, the adopted sister character. But I feel like they tried to have a bit of an arc with them that didn't really click with me. Where at the end, where she was like, "You are my sister, and you are my blood," and I was like, "Oh, okay." And that came a little bit out of nowhere for me. Which is frustrating because I really liked her character. And then I got like really weirded out because then just randomly at the end when they're having the fight, they were like, "Oh, and he ate your babies," and I was like, "What? Like what?" So I don't know. That just took me by surprise.
Yeah, that part I that one I kind of got, but I was confused as to like in the hospital. I thought the sister got shot in the head and then she was suddenly alive again, and I was like, what the hell?
I think what it was is that she was doing the same thing that he did to her. You know how he like put her in a mental prison and made her feel like she was somewhere else, where in reality she was really killing these people.
Yeah.
I think it was an equivalent. Like I think the whole thing was like, oh, we share the same brain. So if you can do that to me, I can do that to you.
Oh,
and
I
so
get
she
it.
like flipped it on him and had him think that he killed her, but he didn't really kill her.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I think it was a solid movie. Like, I don't mean to sound super critical or anything. Like, obviously, I'm gonna just point out things that I wasn't okay with. But as like an overview, despite those faults, I still think it was a solid horror movie. And like I said, I really think that James Wan directing these movies, like, I think if anybody else directed it, it would be like a 5 for me. But because James Wan directed it and the way he directs these movies, it is so dynamic. Like, and I've seen all these different horror directors, and I watch a lot of horror because of the Reaction Channel. And then I hadn't seen James Wan in a bit, and I was like, okay, I wonder how he's going to hold up now that I've seen a lot of horror. And I come back to it, and I'm like, dude, the guy is a master director. He's so dynamic, and I can't get over it. And so I think really it elevates everything that he does.